Hello, sacred souls. It's Susanna from Alamanic Shaman. What I have here for us tonight is a bit more healing for our fear of abandonment, our fear of rejection, and healing from the ego mentality, right? Or that need to control, the need to feel important, the need to dominate, the need to establish some kind of superior inferior dynamic, anything like that. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit what happened. So basically yesterday was my day off and I worked on a DIY project, which I absolutely loved. I love those kind of things, which is sometimes it makes it really hard to film afterwards when I'm still cleaning up the chaos. But I also went to actually, I was a part of a mini parade because I had actually just joined a little community samba band, and I'm still the newbie there, but I was just on the shaker, like between others that are also working on the shaker, so I was just following them. But that's not why I'm telling you. I'm telling you because the impression I had last time was that the conductor or band leader really wanted the louder rattles, which were created out of little like tin lids or something, like little round tin discs that were mounted onto some kind of frame, and they were shaken back and forth, but they were quite heavy. And the other girl who was fairly new and myself, our arms and like shoulders and even the back got tired after a while, so we switched to the lighter ones, which were more like a tube. And I could tell that it wasn't loud enough for him to have the tubes because they're more quiet, right? Like they're a softer tone and they don't stand out as much. So I had the idea of putting something metallic inside those round tubes. And when I brought the little demonstration that I had prepared, right, to show him my idea, which was really a bunch of these little tin bells, jingle bells, inside the metal tube, but I had prepared a tin can just to show basically my idea. See, that's the idea. He didn't even really listen. The moment, like I made the mistake probably of telling him what I had put in there, and he shot it down right away. Didn't want to hear it, didn't want to say anything, just refused the idea right away. And my gut feeling had actually told me to simply talk to the person who had made the actual rattles, which wasn't the same person. But he wasn't there, and I was so excited about my little inspiration, right, that I made the mistake of sharing it with a person who was too much in the ego, who is identifying himself through what he does, and who has been doing it for a while and feels that he has some kind of superiority because of that, right? Even though he doesn't come across as arrogant, but it's like he has insecurities that come out in moments like those, right? So I actually found myself somewhat triggered, but luckily the rest of the day was so awesome that I just overrode it. But it was still kind of lingering a bit, and today throughout the day too, it's like I thought about it again and again, and I kind of processed it because I thought I had kind of healed from that stuff, but clearly there's still something that still attracted that kind of behavior towards me. And it's funny, actually, I just noticed. I feel like I want to like fix and correct the little elements because I noticed there was some wax in this one and there was some dirt showing, and I felt the need to fix that, which is basically how my mother always kept picking around on me when I was young. And it clearly goes back to that need for perfection because only when you're perfect, you're accepted and loved in that sick, twisted, unhealed, narcissistic, devil type energy kind of thinking, right? So to make a long story short, we need, or those of us who have that issue, we need to heal that part within us that is still the wounded child from this kind of trauma of not really being accepted fully. And it also reminded me of actually both my parents in different ways at different times kind of not really being supportive or shooting down an idea that I had or a dream that I had. And that actually goes back to their own limitations, right? So we can understand something with our minds, but not necessarily with the heart. So we gotta heal that from the heart. And what is from one of the past ceremonies, the wax that I had from one of those red heart candles, I actually had to heat it up with hot water to get it out of the little bowl. It was stuck in there. And I knew this was significant somehow, the shape that in which it came out. And I had to look at it for like 2 days. I just knew it was a creature, but I couldn't quite figure it out. And then I realized this was actually the head or the face of a bear. And the bear, in spiritual meaning or native spiritual traditions, is the healer, right? So the healer of the animal kingdom, the animal spirit that really helps with healing. So there's definitely still work that needs to be done. And it's funny, now that I'm recording this, I just really feel the need to make things perfect, which I have very much eliminated in my life otherwise. And here I am, I find myself, I want to pick off the dirt that's on there too, because stuff got dirty when I worked on my DIY project yesterday and sort of the dust settled and stuff. But I'm going to leave that. I'm going to force myself to just leave it and go on with this. So it's interesting how we can so much understand something with the mind. We can analyze behavior and whatnot, but there is something innate within us when we still have that trauma in our energy field and when we still carry it around with us emotionally, even if it's faint and a lot of times it may be subconscious, but it still comes out in certain situations and certain moments. And unless we heal it, we can try to control ourselves when we get triggered, but we will still get triggered. Whereas when we're fully healed, we don't get triggered anymore, right? So anyway, so that was my long little intro. Thank you for listening to all of this. A lot of times when I'm still kind of processing stuff myself, it takes a bit longer to get out because not everything's always 100% clear when I start this recording. And as I start talking, some of it becomes clearer to me as well. Okay, anyway, so I'm gonna actually, I found this yellow dish. Somebody had made it for cats. And I felt that this was actually perfect to put our light candle in to represent the sacral, not sacral, sorry, the solar plexus chakra. And I'm going to light that and we're going to smudge, and then I will actually have to transfer it onto the bigger thing, but maybe in the bowl. I hadn't really thought about that, because I don't want to just let it burn down like this. It needs to be on a bigger metal dish or plate of some sort. Okay, so now let's get started. Okay. Okay. Please cleanse, clear, and renew all of our energies and reconnect us with that pure divine energy, and transmute anything with all that divinity that we already have within us, that we're a part of. Whoops. And one moment. I don't want the floor to get a burn mark. Help us reconnect to the divinity within us, and through that to all the divine, and let it transmute any and all dark and unhealed remaining energies that are still within us. And so it is. Thank you, Dankeschön, all my relations. Whew. Dear Creator, higher power, source, and soul energy, our higher selves, our higher spirit guides of the light, our ancestors that are in the light, dear Mother Earth, powers of all four directions, powers of the east, powers of the south, powers of the west, powers of the north, powers of all four elements, air, earth, fire, and water, and all other benevolent powers, forces, spirits, and beings of the universe and multiverse that are of the light, please join the ceremony and assist the healings, prayers, and protection with all of your powers. Thank you. Please close the circle of protection around us. Thank you. Okay. And what just came to me is one thing that I actually forgot to mention. I got some Marvel cards at the supermarket. They give them away if you spend over a certain amount. And amongst those, like in each batch, there was something that stood out to me. So, hang on. So, the first, actually, no, this stack was the first one. So, what stood out to me was Shuri, and not particularly, like, it doesn't really matter her name or whatever, but what stood out to me was that her power is in her hands. And I have come across a whole bunch of signs about healing energy in the hands. And let me put this down for a moment. There's a symbol that I pass every so often where it's actually a cannabis store, funny enough, but it's a hand with a spiral on the palm, and every time I pass it I feel like healing powers in the hand. Every time. It's like, when I look at it, I know that's what it means, right? So, this card represents that we have healing powers in our hands, like Reiki, or, you know, Jesus putting the hand on someone, or any of the ascended masters. I mean, they could even do it with like just thoughts or words, right? But representing all of those healing modalities that also involve like using the hands. And that could be shamanism, that could be, as I mentioned, Reiki, or the energy healer that has helped me in Germany. He doesn't really categorize himself as a specific type of healer. I just always refer to him as an energy healer. But what he did is just move the hands over my body, right? And he just moved the energy around. So again, it's like using the hands, right? And I'm sure there are others. I know there's a hugging guru in India. So physical contact, it may not just be the hands in this case, but like enveloping someone in her aura helps heal people, right? So that's very important. And the other card that came out was the star. So we are the star, and it says courage at the bottom, right? So it takes courage to be on the ascension path, but we have all the backing from the spirit world, from the astral realm, of like all the celestial support of the divine, from all the star systems and so on, right? So that's what needed to be made clear to us, because sometimes we deny our own power, we deny our own origin, heritage, and so on, because of human conditioning, right?